Name
say
one issue you have with yoga. Yoga itself. Any issue, any flow, anyone.
we look like we'll have to get back on to Howard Darwin.
Welcome to the Edson Breedy Experience.
Good evening, guys, and welcome to episode 4 of the Edson Breedy Experience. I'm Edson, and tonight I'm here with Joash, the Honey Badger Walkins, who I think is the pound for pound best MMA fighter in the Caribbean.
That's right.
So I'm really excited to have you here tonight, Joash, because if it's one thing, this because of your 15-1 record and your awesome personality, I really want to see you get a contract. I want to give any kind of visibility that I could help you with. I'd love for somebody to see this and go look up your fights and see how you mangle people. Anytime I hear that you're going to compete, I'm just like, boy, who Josh going to beat now, boy? I can't wait to go to see a fight because I know that, hey, boy, we could walk with the flag, walking with the flag today.
You really want to know who's the next victim?
Exactly. No, I know we're going to be partying afterwards. For sure, after the fight, they're going to have an after party because you're going to win, right? But before we go into the talk, I just want to thank our sponsor, Synapse Medical Services Limited. A link to their website could be found in our bio, the bio of this video on YouTube. It'll help the podcast. If you just click on the link, check out their services. I'd recommend it to anyone suffering from a neurological condition like nerve damage, dementia, multiple sclerosis, maybe even stroke victims. Recent stroke victims could benefit a lot from their services. So check them out, and it'll be really helpful for us. All right, so Joash, I know that I was asking you earlier about your record, right? 15-1, and I was trying to figure out how do you decide that you're going to go pro in MMA? And like, what's the junction that you make? So like in boxing, they have like these tiers. Like after a certain number of fights, you move from category to category. How does it work in MMA?
So it's a bit different now compared to how it was then back in my times.
Right.
It's actually two different eras. So back in my time, when I decided to become a professional.
Well, now was your time, but when it started,
I'm a professional probably over 10 years now.
Right.
So that's totally a different time to now. So back then, most athletes will come from probably a traditional sport background like taekwondo, judo.
Right.
Like myself, I came from a judo background, and I did judo, and I also did boxing simultaneously, and ventured into sambo and all these things. So I had the experience from a child, from 10 years old. I've been representing the country from at the age of 14 and stuff like that. And through that wealth of experience, I was always an athlete. My goal was to be the best in the world. I really loved boxing.
Right.
But something just worked out, and I happened to do judo. It was at the base of my abode, and I excel at judo. Had the opportunity to represent Trinidad and Tobago at Pan American and CAC.
You said it was at the base of your abode?
Yeah, at the bottom of my house.
That's where the judo club used to be, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Downstairs. So
okay.
I just
perfect.
Perfect. Actually, it's perfect in one sense, but being a child, I had quite an active childhood. Right. So we will be playing cricket, football, pelipan, gun shooting in the road. But guess what? When it comes to judo, I have to leave all that fun
and go and train.
And go to judo, go and bathe, and then go to judo. Right. And at the influence of no one saying, hey, Joash, you have to go and do judo. That was something that was burnt into me. I wanted to be the best in the world. I wanted to represent Trinidad at the highest level, which was Olympics. And I had that burning desire from a tender age.
Like 10 years? 10 years old?
Yeah, I started at the age of 10, but I really wanted to be somebody like Mike Tyson, Lennox Lewis, because I was bred like into boxing. My grandfather looked at a lot of boxing. We used to actually bet on boxing and stuff. Well, personal bets like this person gonna win, that person gonna win, and we'll have our favorites,
Right.
Felix Trinidad and all these boxing greats. And it didn't work out with boxing at that time, so judo was my first sport. And eventually I got into the boxing just a couple of years later. I won boxing nationals probably at the age of 13, 14, somewhere there,
Right.
represent the country. So I've been a mixed martial artist since at a tender age.
Right.
I think is just something that God had in store for me, and it started at that stage. And build the experience to the point that I didn't see the opportunity to carry my judo further. So I looked to the next best thing, and it was mixed martial arts. I really didn't want to do mixed martial arts at the point, but me being that competitor and that athlete, I had to look to the next best thing. And Dwayne Hines came back to Trinidad. I hit him up, started training with him. I actually started training with Caleb Edwards before that.
Right.
So I started mixed martial arts with Caleb Edwards, had my first amateur fight.
What
my
age?
only MMA amateur fight.
What age was that?
To be honest, I was around 20, so. Yeah, I was around 20. Somewhere around there. And from there I went straight into pro.
Right. So what made you do the transition?
Well, lack of opportunity in judo.
In judo.
And I knew I wanted to be an MMA fighter now. And I realized training with Dwayne Hines, when I trained with Dwayne Hines, I was his main training partner on a daily basis. And Dwayne Hines was like the best thing around at that point in time. So I get in my, I don't know if I could say ass, but I get in my whoop.
Yeah.
My
You could.
cut tail, I can say that?
Yeah, good.
I get cutters every day from Dwayne Hines. I get top out every day. But when I go with other people, I start to do other people
What
that
he do you?
what Dwayne do to me. So I realized, wait, you're actually good. And then Jason Fraser carried us to Martinique. I won my first fight, and that just started.
So that first fight was as a pro? Because you did the
Actually-
one at 20 with Caleb Edwards.
Yeah.
And then you went pro and went to Martinique?
Well, to be honest, to me it was an amateur fight. I didn't get paid for that fight.
Right.
But it went up on my show dog record as a professional fight. So I
Right.
treat it as a professional fight.
Okay.
And that is where my pro career started. And then where I had the breakout, Dwayne and I at CUF 5. We
Right.
both competed at CUF 5. Crew came to Trinidad. We had the hardest camp ever. Hardest camp ever. We used to train twice, 3 times a day. Sometimes I live at Rima. And every day I had to travel to St. James and stuff like that to train with Dwayne Hines. And we will have
You had to travel to Arima to train with him?
to Port of Spain.
From
St.
Arima to
James.
Port of Spain. Yeah.
Every day. And that time, I didn't have much money at that point in time. At that point in time, my mother was just giving me money to reach Port of Spain, and probably I'll have like a $20, if so much. Sometimes I have $15 to buy a box of Japs. That time, a box of Japs was like $14. You get a breast with fries, and you to go there.
And hold you
I
down
had
for a while.
what you saying there?
I said go hold you down for a while.
Well, I had to time a meal too, so I had to fast in the morning and time it. I had because it's 3 sessions sometimes to the day.
Right.
Sometimes we train in the morning. I lie down in my sweat, fall asleep. Now I had to wake up for the 1 o'clock session. I had to wake up, bathe. Sometimes Dwayne has protein in the fridge there. I say, Dwayne, give me some protein, and we pumping again, and then it's an evening session again. So, yeah.
So you'd say you went pro because there were more chances to fight as a pro than as an amateur in MMA?
That's right.
Okay.
So that's when I said then and now is 2 different times. So that is so most MMA guys back in that time, they probably had no amateur fights. Probably had 1 amateur fight, but they probably had an extended traditional martial art career.
Right.
So, but now, you ask what is the difference and the opportunities. So now athletes have, first of all, things are up in Trinidad as to the competition. So people have more opportunities to showcase their skills. They have more opportunities to gain experience and all these faculties that you need to be an athlete. We know without that motivation of competition, you know what goes on with
Yeah,
an
yeah, and I think we need to mention some people who doing well, some promotions are doing some really good things. Rough and Tough, Cuff,
Yeah,
Rabs.
Rabs.
I
Yeah.
mean, the events are exciting. The events are exciting,
Definitely.
and I know you said you transitioned from judo to MMA. I think a lot of the traditional martial arts sports really need to look at what MMA and kickboxing are doing in terms of the types of events they're doing
Yeah.
and how the excitement is being drawn there because it's hard. It's hard for kids, teens, people to train for hours,
Yeah.
hours and hours every day. Go to your karate tournament, judo tournament, taekwondo tournament, and you look in the stands empty. It's you, your mommy, and your auntie, and your baby cousin who come to support you.
True.
And then you're watching somebody else who's doing MMA or kickboxing or something like that, and you go and people roaring in the stands, and I think it's just the type of event, the way they're thinking about the event. There's more entertainment.
Yeah.
And I really have to give respect to those people who are throwing those events because it's hard. It's a lot of work to put on those events, and they're putting on a lot of events, which is bringing excitement to the sport. Is that part of why you switched from judo to MMA? Why transition?
Well, basically, what went on? They started a school program, and
MMA or judo?
judo.
Right.
And in this school program, I was teaching 3 schools, 2 primary schools and Northeastern College, the school that I went to.
Right.
We actually had judo nationals and stuff with the schools. And because of the school program, the inter-club program died down. So I became a coach at a young age. And the athlete in me, that part I wasn't getting to express myself as an athlete.
Yeah.
So therefore, I'm an opportunist at the end of the day, and I will seek the best opportunities for myself to always propel myself to something bigger or greater.
Right.
And that is why I venture into something like
There
MMA.
wasn't a competitive pathway at the time. There was only a pathway to make the sport bigger and there was a coaching pathway for judo,
Yeah.
but there was not a competitive pathway.
They was trying to build it. They thought they could have, well, we know the schools, that is the foundation, if we could build it in the schools, but it just didn't work out that way because I think the problem with traditional sport in Trinidad and Tobago, the organizations don't run it like a business. So in saying that, like when they throw in tournaments, it's not really entertainment. You don't get the entertainment value from it. So they just run it as, all right, all the clubs come, there's no advertisement for it, few people know about it, there's no hype around it.
It's come like they're doing it just for doing it sake.
Yeah.
Yeah. Things need to, these organizations
Now, well, you end up doing it to test your skill. Like it'll be a purist.
Yes.
A purist who just want to test their skill, but it's hard. It's hard to keep grinding for so long, and then you go into the competitions, and you might have two competitors again. Say you might have one competitor. They might be merging categories because they have so few competitors. That happens a lot of times in traditional martial arts now.
And I sure you experience that
Yeah,
along the
for
way.
sure,
At
for sure.
times I end up in open weight category. I was the smallest man, and I
Right,
fighting
right.
men 200 pounds and stuff like that. I could remember fighting Dwayne Hines in an MMA competition because it was so small and
Right.
everybody
Need
had to
something.
merge in. Well,
No.
yeah, it's crazy. That's
That's a rough one. That's
rough.
What number fight was that?
I can't even remember. I had to fight Dwayne Hines. I fought Adam De Silva, I think. And I was good, but I just couldn't. They were bigger than
Way
me.
bigger,
with
yeah.
more skill. I was a youth man, still
Yeah.
in my teens and stuff like that. And
Okay.
those are the things I had to deal with. So I ventured into mixed martial arts, and it worked out. It worked out. I had the
It just
favor.
sharpened the iron, man.
Yeah, I trained with the best man around. It had a lot of people around because those days Rough House, it was booming in those days. So I had a lot of training athletes. National training started with the Sambo team, and I had like the blessings of like Mr. Jason Fraser. I was one of his favorite athletes because the work that I put in and the potential that he saw in me, and the rest was history. I get the most opportunities out of everyone because I had that favor, and it's a favor of God too,
Right.
where my mom always pray for me to have favor in the sight of men and also in the sight of God. So things work out.
So essentially, just talking back, 10 years ago, you had done lots of different fights, judo, boxing. You went on to do one amateur fight,
Yeah.
and there were very limited amateur options back then.
Yeah.
But so then you transitioned after your first amateur fight to do to start going professional because they were Jason Fraser, I guess, would have known that you were tested from seeing you in these other competitions.
Yeah.
But now, if someone wanted to go pro in MMA, what do they do? What's the pathway for that to happen now?
So first of all, get in an MMA gym. Well,
Right.
we know the best MMA gyms around. I could call a few. So we have first is HitFit, you know. We have Edson Breedy.
We comment. We comment.
Athletics
soon. We
doing
comment soon.
a
Comment
fantastic job. I have
Yeah.
to comment on your on your model. It's is an awesome model, and I could see it.
You'll see
I
us.
could
Somebody,
I
you've
could
seen
see it-
somebody in the cage
I could
soon.
see it doing well in the future. We have Kerry Grant. We have we have
Southern Warriors of
Warren
mixed
Gill.
martial
Yeah.
arts, yeah.
Kerry Grant is Southern Warriors. We have Warren Gill, Gracie Jiu Jitsu guys, and all these little gyms just popping up here and there and everywhere.
And
doing
Ruffles,
MMA.
I see
Well,
Ruffles.
Ruffles also.
I see Ruffles is making a strong comeback. They were off for a little bit of time. I was so excited to see them back because
It's
I mean,
perfect.
I really and truly before HitFit, before Edson Breedy Taekwondo,
Yeah.
I used to pull my little dollars together.
I remember.
Pull my little dollars together to travel up to St. James and have the best time ever. Whenever I used to get a chance between Taekwondo sessions, I don't know how this do it, but Ruffles just have some real fun sessions, boy.
Definitely.
The circuit, the whole setup of their classes, I find is so fun. And so I see, I don't know, maybe it's the name, maybe it's the name, but I feel like when I was watching the videos, like, you know, there's rarely posting stories now, and I'd be like, how these people so athletic, boy? I'm not sure how they, because I'd be like, these people just start. These people looking like they're fresh, like
Yeah.
they're looking like at 3 months, 6 months in, but the guys in the videos looking athletic. You don't find so?
Yeah, they seem to be grinding in silence or something.
I don't know. I'm like, where these people coming from?
I don't even know.
And I'm what they
who are
doing.
these guys.
You're
Like,
doing a good job. You're doing a good job.
but
And-
on the other hand,
Yeah.
to that, right?
yeah.
They're doing a good job, but who are these guys? Where are these guys fighting? That is the downfall. To me, in your model,
Right.
you need to show your fruit, and in order to show your fruit, you have to go out there and showcase your talent all over. You have to showcase your talent. So, with my model, we're gonna fight in. Bro, we coming to fight in your taekwondo tournament and all. I'll bring my guys to fight in your taekwondo tournament because I have seen what it has done for me. We actually first met in Rough House.
Yeah.
We first met in Rough House, but I training with you and seeing the experience and the levels that I have mixing the martial arts and doing different arts and stuff like that. That just opened everything.
I feel you. I understand where you're coming from, but I guess because like we have this book to study for Taekwondo, right? Like when you become an instructor, and there's like one of the chapters is about competitive Taekwondo versus like studying the art of Taekwondo, right? And one of the things they try to impress on you in the beginning is not everybody want to be a competitor,
True.
right? A lot of people just like learning a martial art, working out. They stressed at home. Mommy always arguing, wifey always arguing. They have a place, or husband always arguing, right? The husband always arguing, and you find this place. You find this place to come and sweat and meet bros and meet sister and just and work out your stress. And sometimes you just don't want to compete. So like every gym I think has a kind of different kind of vibe and feeling, right?
true.
and not everyone. So like I want people to compete. I find is such a huge building block for you emotionally that I don't know. It's give you it's give you a lot of confidence. It's give you it's just boost your self esteem and a whole. So I love to like promote people to compete. So like I come now try. I'll really try to get people to do it. But I guess because of my vibe,
Yeah.
I end up attracting a lot of people who like quieter people who might be like anxious or like do think that they're athletic. They do think that they're athletic and they're looking for a comfortable place to work out. So I get a lot of those people, and then slowly after 2 years, after 3 years, they start realizing, wait, now I could do things, and then they'll push themselves to compete, right? With rough house now, I find like the people, I think it's the name too. I think from the time you hear rough house, you're like, I go in there to scrap. I go in there and I'll get a chance to fight, right? So you know, as a real good example, boy, maybe me and rough house might be different. When people call on the phone and they want to come and just spar, I just run those people. I'm not sure. I don't know. I don't know if
You run them.
So, for example, like if the way it work is if somebody call and they say, "Hey, you have sparring," I'd be like, "Sure, we have sparring on this day and this day and this day. What gym you from? And who's your coach?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, I train with Rough House. Cool, great. Yeah, I'll talk to Joash. And once I talk to Joash, you could come and spar. Boom.
Okay.
Kerry, Warren Gill, anybody who I know they coming from a school, they have actual martial arts training, they could come. But if it's like the self, I show you, it's getting called
Self-taught.
from the people, the self-taught people. The self-taught, I self-taught. I teach myself kung fu and boxing. I box it.
I got-
You know what I'm talking about, right?
So at my gym,
Yeah.
I'm a bit different. If you tell me you want to come and spar, like say if you have experience, but I literally sit down and look at the sparring session. I'll have my mic on and I'll be like, guys, 20% power to the head, 50% power to the body. I'm very serious. Now, if I realize it have elements in the class, the characters, I will kind of threaten them. I'll be like, if I see you going beyond and you're overdoing it, I will send my monsters for you. I will literally tell them that in the class, so everybody will just tone it down. Even though if it's a first timer, you should be able to come and test yourself. Just have the experience of sparring, because you might, and a lot of sub-trained guys came in the gym and I wonder where they train, and it's like,
They come in
these
hot.
guys just
They come in with skills.
they come in and they're holding their own and they have movements, whatever they see on TV.
YouTube.
It worked out for some of them. But they actually get to see if this is something that they really want to do. But I monitor it. I sit down and I have my mic and I'll be like, guys, easy. Go a little easy. I'll be like coaching one or two people or whatever. And I will tell them, hey, take it down. If I start to hear like pop, 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 guys, take it down, please.
In my book, that's suspicious. Somebody called me and is like, I just want to come in and fight. I no training. Be like, bro, I don't need that toxicity. Man, Jimmy, here's the pathway. You come in the boxing, you come in the beginner class.
Yeah.
The coach will see you. You'll do some technical. You might do a 1 or 2 technical. Then you'll be like, hey, this. Then they will talk to the advanced coach, and they'll be like, hey, we have somebody here who have some skills. They could do the beginner curriculum. We could send them on the advanced curriculum.
Yeah.
And then they go in the advanced class, and once in the advanced class, you could go and spar essentially, right? Because essentially, the way I split up my classes, we have a beginner's class without sparring. You just doing fundamentals.
Okay.
Just doing movement, and it's to make sure people feel comfortable going in. Anybody could just come in, granny, auntie, mommy, teenager, somebody who have anxiety, somebody who overweight, they could come in and just feel comfortable learning the movements. Then after they do that, they could go in the advanced class where it's an option, or they could just stay in the beginner class.
Okay.
Yeah, so I have a feeling, Rough House, there's be like, well, you just want to fight? You come here. We want that energy, because they just look so athletic, boy. They really look athletic.
Well,
from the non-competitors, because I'm like, you all aren't competitors. I've never seen you before.
Yeah.
But they coming out hard.
But I think the if you split a gym into a pie chart or
Yeah.
graphs, just as you said, I think 1% will be competitors and the rest will just be. So I don't really ask people to be competitors. If you are a competitor, I will see the interest in the way you. I will be able to spot it.
Yeah.
I will see that joy when you come to class. I will realize your attendance, your
Yeah, the
record.
dedication to actually
Yeah,
show up and show out.
dedication to show up.
Yeah.
I will see you coming to sparring. I will see, and then I'll be like, you have some potential. And then you want to do a grappling match? Like I asked a guy the other day, you want to do a grappling match? He's like, yeah, but I want to strike too. But I could see that youth man. He come to nearly every sparring session. His parents will send him, and he will be having fun. He come to every MMA
Love
class,
it.
and you could actually pinpoint because I'm an athlete myself, so I could watch you and I will see the passion resonating deep within you, and I could definitely
You're
tell.
coming early, you're staying back after class.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rolling and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah. But on rough house still, I think this do it too. 'Cause I really like a rough house, I wish we could go there more. Because it's really, like, your gym, rough house, it's just be fun. It's just be fun to go. The rough house call, they have such a good call.
Yeah.
They have a good call. Hit fit have a call, then?
Pardon?
Hit fit have a call, as in? For like when your athletes competing?
A chant.
Or
Chant? like a win, like if
3, 2,
you're
1 hit like.
Yeah, something like
Well, I actually started at the end of every class. I'll be like 3, 2, 1 hit
Hit
fit.
fit, right.
But we haven't established it as yet
yeah.
in a competition.
The who-
But probably soon we will hear it.
the whose house, rough house, they still go hard. That
Yeah,
that's
that
that was
was-
not gonna.
that line is an epic line.
Yeah, you know what? You know, as a hard one too. We aren't ordinary people.
Well, Kerry is a hype man.
Carries do good.
Kerry is the
Yeah.
ultimate hype man. If you're looking for a hype man
Yeah.
for your national team, for whatever team, who are we? Yeah, that line hard. It's hard to beat that one.
So
that one hard to beat.
recently we had recently we
Southern
had
Showdown.
we had to face Southern Warriors and two different events. We had well actually they had a grappling tournament, like a karate tournament like a few weeks ago. Plus they had the Southern Showdown, and so some of our fighters had their debuts against Southern Warriors, and I'm there the night before like, wait boy, my athletes going good, but I don't like Kerry Grant.
Start that chant.
Go at least beat me and then Kerry Grant go in the ring and hit me the
Who are we?
we are not ordinary people. I was just like, please let me dodge that. Let me don't get
Well, we
hit.
said warriors of mixed martial arts.
Let me don't get hit with that. Luckily he was able to dodge it. But
It's inevitable, yeah. It's coming. It's coming before
sometime. It coming
and
sometime.
it's coming after.
I know he gonna hit mid one of these days. One of these days we'll collect it. So you're talking about Hit Fit, right? I see you'll have an awesome new kids MMA program,
Yeah.
right? It looks super exciting in the videos, right? I know sometimes a lot of parents might have misconceptions about kids doing MMA and thinking like it's super violent or dangerous. Do you have any like thing you'd want to let parents know about MMA that might, help ease them or might make them feel more comfortable trying it?
Well, first of all, MMA is the fastest growing sport in the world at the moment. To me, is a 21st century sport also. Well, I mean, probably, yes, it is. And the MMA classes for kids is to me, is pure fun. When the kids come, they must feel like they're in Chuck E. Cheese. Chuck E. Cheese, where a kid can be a kid.
Yeah.
That is what I want when the kids come. But they are having fun and I will give them the tasks, but everything is just surrounded around fun. So we building strength
Right.
around fun. We building balance around fun. We building that stamina because they like to run about. They'll tell you, sir, all right, 1, 2, sir, I'm tired. Oh, you're tired. All right. All right. So we're going to play dodgeball. Yeah! And everybody.
Thought you're tired.
Oh, you really thought you could have fooled me, right? And they're running from, dodgeball, that
Yeah.
going to carry up your heart rate because you had to dodge the ball.
Gotta be
It's all
agile.
about reaction time, and you get penalized if you get hit. You get a sprawl. So it's all the fundamentals build around just having
Games.
epic fun. When you leave there, you just want to come back. You hear kids asking their parents to come back to the classes and stuff. And the first session is free.
Right.
So you get a chance for your kid
What time?
to come
What time? What time that classes?
kids classes, well, we usually take kids from 6 years to 12, well, depending on the 12-year-old. The 11 or the 12-year-old, they could catch yourself going in the teens class depending on how their brain, if they that mature to go in, the size and stuff like that. So that is Monday, Wednesdays, and Saturdays. Monday and Wednesdays at 3:30 p.m. Saturdays at 8:30 a.m. on Saturdays.
Okay.
And it's just $400 for the month, $60 a drop in. First class is free, followed by the teens. So the teens is 1 hour behind.
Right.
Monday, Wednesday, Saturday, 4:30 on Mondays and Wednesdays, and 9:30 on a Saturday. Same $400. It's less fun than the kids. What I mean?
How is it
It's less game.
fun?
Well, less games. It's less
all right,
games.
it's a lot of fun, but it's less games. It's not
I guess.
like it's not engineered to just blow their mind with
Right.
with-
No, they're
with,
teenagers. They kind of
with
still.
dodgeball or hot potato. and
Right.
these things. Although
They can amuse them in the same way.
the teens should be probably playing some of those games, and I
Yeah.
actually give them some of those games
Yeah.
because it's a fun way of getting your heart rate up, a fun way of warming up. You're building that reaction time, balance, the way you switch from one foot to the next, and coordination. Everything is geared around enjoyment, and even the adults classes is fun also. The adults MMA, we now building back a real nice adult MMA community, and adult MMA is 3 times a week too. So Monday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, all at 7:30 p.m. in the night, and the
Any
class.
level. Any level.
Any
coming
level,
after.
you could walk in there at any level. Mondays we usually do striking. Wednesdays and Thursdays we usually do grappling. So Wednesdays we usually more get to jiu-jitsu, grappling. That's the art of submissions and all these locks and stuff like that. And Thursday we usually do a little more wrestling and stuff like that. Mix it with, well, my wrestling program is geared between sambo, judo, and wrestling. So you're gonna learn all those throws and stuff like that. And to me, I think every human being should at least participate. This is just my point of view. I could be wrong. I think every human being should at least do 6 months of some self-defense art.
Right.
It's better to have it when you need it, or if you need it and you need to use it in that situation where your back is really against the wall and you probably just had that one opportunity to survive. That could be the opportunity of life and
Or
death.
that. Mm-hmm.
And you gotta test yourself. And I think each person should swim. We living on an island.
Yeah.
Gymnastics and martial arts. That's 3 things I think everybody. I don't know what are your thoughts on that, but I don't know.
Yeah.
You could.
I think everybody needs to stretch as well.
Oh,
Especially if
do
you're doing
yoga.
all them things, you
do
need to
yoga.
stretch.
That-
Just saying.
Kimada said stretch, but I know she's heavy on the yoga side. So gymnastics, the strength that these people have at the end range of motion, and at the end range of motion, most of the times that is your weakest point of the joint. What does yoga? How yoga could offer that aspect?
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm not sure if anybody has looked at advanced yoga, Ashtanga, to the extent that I have. But I mean, when I say nobody, I mean the average person that we sit and talk to. But an Ashtanga sequence is a fixed sequence, right? It could take about 1 hour and 45 minutes for somebody to complete. And it's the same thing every time. But towards the end of the sequence, you're getting into more challenging poses, and the thing is, it's not just a pose in isolation. You're moving through a sequence of motions to get into that pose, and then another sequence of motion to get out of it, and then get into another pose and get out of it, and then get into another. So there's a lot of range of motion that takes place there.
Listen, you could ask Kamada anything about yoga. Any critique you have, Kamada will be like, nah, yoga do not.
I think it's
The
because of
president need to be
the way that I studied
President need to
it.
be doing yoga. If you have cancer, you should be doing yoga.
Yes.
If you're a criminal, you should be doing
Google
yoga.
it.
I
If you-
agree.
Google it.
friend.
Yoga for. Google it.
Big
Come
up
on,
your
Get yoga for anything.
Big up your art, girlfriend.
Kamada will never admit to any flaw in yoga. She'll be like, nah, there's a
I wouldn't say I wouldn't
Come on,
admit to
name
any flaw.
one-
I
name
just
one
haven't
thing.
heard a flaw that was that was
Name-
quality flaw. To
name
say,
one
yeah.
issue you have with yoga. Yoga itself. Any issue, any flaw, anyone.
We look like we'll have to get back on to Howard Darwin.
Nothing
about
comes to
it.
mind
Think about it.
in the whole of your yoga practice. Nothing has come to mind. It's like, this
Yeah.
shouldn't be so, or
No.
I do think it should be
No.
like this because X, Y, Z.
Reason being is that there's usually a very in-depth reasoning and explanation for why you're doing what you're doing. And it's been there for 5,000 plus years. So it's very difficult for anyone who has studied it to really say, yeah, something wrong with this thing. You know what I mean? Because there's so many provable and justifiable reasons for doing it. If you have a doubt, you could go and look for the information there and you'll find a good, understandable and relatable explanation for it, at least from my perspective. And not everything aligns with everybody else. And as everybody have their thing, you know what I mean? And yoga is my thing. And it resonates with me. The things make sense. I hear something for the first time and I go, yeah, boy, I really didn't.
I guess I don't know. My mind is very critical. I'm super critical of everything. I feel like yes, I do taekwondo. Taekwondo is something that I practice, and people know me to do taekwondo, but I know that there are issues, there are flaws with it. I see MMA, I'm like, oh, this is exciting. I'm starting to get into the world of MMA. Did some grappling, did some boxing. I'm like, I feel like I could point out, okay, here's the pros and here are the cons of it. And with everything, they have like Christianity is pretty old.
True.
Hinduism and other things are pretty old, and they always have critiques of it. But as always, be wary of people when they can't when people be like, PNM, they have nothing wrong with PNM. PNM is best. UNC is the best.
I
no
mean,
matter what.
there were things
No
that
matter-
I had to do in my yoga training
Yeah.
that ideally were not
Are we
the
gonna
best
get one?
experiences, like drinking 12 glasses, 16-ounce glasses of saline water and then vomiting back out. It wasn't.
That was the hope, but the idea was for you to vomit, right?
Yeah, yes, you actually induce the vomit back.
It's a purge or something.
It's a cleansing technique. And they were teaching you different cleansing techniques, and they would actually explain it to you before they make you do it. So you understand why you're doing what you're doing. So at the same time, there's a reason, there's a viable, relatable, information there for you to understand it. And so I couldn't refute it. You Google it, and they're like, okay, yeah, so this actually does the thing that they say it's going to do. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Coming from your medical, yes, you will know about these things. What you think about that now? If you have to critique that, like drinking
That specific thing?
drinking 12 glasses of saline and stuff and vomiting and stuff like that. What
Sounds
could
crazy.
you say about that from your standpoint or your point?
Why are they doing it? Because there are times when we might need to induce some sort of vomit. We might need to induce some vomiting for something,
So
but like why? What would be the reason? Because everybody don't need to do that.
No,
I don't think.
And
you
the
will
thing
be in
is,
your
it's
class
not
and
something that
everybody
you're
listens to
doing.
everybody.
It's not something that you're doing every day either.
Right.
They have a recommended timeline. Okay, once every 2 months, once every 3 months for this particular reason, and it is a flushing out of things. So it's just like a neti, right? A neti. They recommend that you do neti every day.
This
Right?
is,
So the
thing
neti
which
part
is-
is when you run,
when your
when you
nose,
run, I think body temperature, saline solution through one nostril comes out through the other, right? And it flushes out. You see the
Huge
snot
gloves, huge
coming out
gloves,
through
yeah.
one side and it's taking
neti pot.
black specks and things like from carbon monoxide and stuff that you breathe in every day. They're just stuck in your nose hairs and your mucus and stuff. It's draining it out.
So that's something you should do.
And they recommend that you do it every day. So while I was in India, that's something we had to do every single day. And I had so much sinus relief while I was in India, one of the most highly polluted places in the world. My sinuses didn't give me any stress because I was doing that jala neti every day.
But is it sustainable? Like you upkeep that, like
To
up
this day,
point?
if I get sick, I have my neti pots. If I'm not feeling well, tickling my throat, I neti every day, every single day, and I will be better in 2-3 days.
I
No
think
problem.
a lot of people will need that to the Sahara dust that is
I'm
going
telling
around.
with the Sahara dust, I've been doing it so
Shoot.
much more often. Telling you.
Wow.
We digress, but we did digress. So
A little bit, but just going back to
Yeah.
it, because what I try to do on a daily basis, I try to figure out what's the best portion to this life. What, like, in my art form, what are the best arts to gel, and at what stage should you gel these art forms to create this elite athlete and stuff like that.
Right.
So that's why I come to these three art forms, and I think gymnastic will be for the younger person, but as you get older, I think the gymnastic will probably turn to something like yoga. For like when you're in your 50s, you ain't
it
going
can be
to,
explosive.
you don't want to be doing gymnastics, your shoulder pop out, that kind
Yeah,
of
the
thing.
body is a little more
think-
fragile.
I think as you get older, that will be a smoother transition. So that will be kind of your mobility training.
I wish that there was yoga in my primary school. I wish that there was yoga in schools for me as a child. Now that I know what it is and what it has done for me, I wish that I had access to that in school.
I tried, and it was an awesome experience
Yeah.
doing yoga with you. To be
Yeah,
honest. I recommend it to
I-
anyone.
Definitely, I love yoga. But by the way, just making sure. Oh, come on, I pelt me with something.
No. It's peace and love and life.
Like-
Peace, love and life.
No, because she knows.
I
she
might
knows
just
what-
felt it with saline
she-
solution.
once it's not used, it's solution, right? But she knows I love yoga. But we have a relationship where I'm constantly like, I'm waiting to hear her give a critique about certain things, because she's passionate. She's be very passionate about like a thing that she believes in, and she'll be like, they have nothing wrong with this thing. They have nothing wrong with this thing.
So for
I want
instance,
you to think they must have something that
She
you
blinded
do.
by
They
love.
must-
That's
I think
what you're
she's
trying
blind.
to say.
I think
when you love this person so
Yes.
much, and you just can't
You can't see the
faults
flaws.
in them, and it's just too close to your
No,
face.
so
Is it-
I approach love in the same way as I approach yoga. I look in for the flaws too, I want to see what is going on. But if you show me where it is and I can't see the flaw, then we good to go.
So we're on MMA, right? We're talking about your youth program and all these programs that you have. You have the teen MMA, youth MMA, adult MMA. Yeah, I think you have 5 strength and conditioning classes as well. How are you finding time to train? How are you finding time to train and manage all this?
Well, I'm trying to build a machine, first of all.
Yes.
It's something like what you trying to do. I'm not trying to run all the classes
Classes,
at
yeah.
my gym, so therefore I don't do the morning classes.
All right.
I have someone designated to do those 4 classes in the morning. I usually take on most of the evening classes. So I'll do more of my personal training in the morning and stuff like that. And I'll take on most of the evening classes.
Bro,
I have people in the evening.
Let me tell you a secret.
also,
I have a secret to tell you. You might find it funny. So we were linemen after MMA fight.
right?
We were by One Woodbrook Place, and we were talking about we were talking about strength and conditioning classes,
Right.
and you had told me how you had given me the layout of your strength and conditioning class, and you was telling me how you had the morning classes, and I was like, "Wait, boy, Josh hitting it, boy." He hitting it. Like, how you doing these morning classes and evening classes?
Yeah.
And I was like, I gonna do morning classes too. and like the next month, so I started morning classes. Boy, so I started doing these morning classes, coaching, waking up, doing it at 5 a.m. and then I'm doing at 6 a.m. and then going to work.
Oh,
And then coming back to coach in the evening time.
yeah.
I was real mashed up. I was like, what was I thinking? What was I thinking doing this morning? I just had to keep pushing
Spread yourself
until
too thin.
until eventually somebody came. So like I mean I love psychiatry. I love ward rounds. I love just being in the hospital. But we'd be talking about patients and real interesting things because they have all kind of bacchanal. The amount of bacchanal that be going on where you like getting in depth in what going on with a patient who have like who has been pushed to the limit of life, right? It's be real interesting things. Like so, and I'm there like falling asleep in the rooms. And
gosh.
Oh,
yeah, but
no.
eventually, luckily, I was able to get a great coach for the morning classes.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, boy, it was rough. I was inspired by a conversation with you. I was like, nah, I had to push it. I had to hit it like Joash. Yeah, it almost spread me to 10.
Yeah, well, my good friend's a doctor, so I get these stories and they're definitely really entertaining day by day, play by play. You get these crazy stories, but I try to build a machine but I still get up and do clients. Sometimes I'm there before the gym classes start
Right.
with clients, so I still have my morning routine with my clients and stuff like that. And
One-on-ones with you.
yeah, and if there's one thing I learned from Dwayne Hines is you have a designated time to train. No, my time to train is 10 to 12, Monday to Friday. You cannot pay me for that time. You cannot tell me, bro, let me go online that time. You can say, bro, it had to be something really, really important to take me away from that 10 to 12, Monday to Friday. There is no money that anyone could lay on the table because that is the investment into myself and the investment into our teamwork and stuff.
You ever
like that.
feel guilty?
If I do miss a day because I put my heart and soul into it, I wouldn't miss a day like, nah, I'm not feeling to train today. And worse yet, I'm the coach for 3 of those days, for Joshua, the 2 Joshuas, for Gerard, some Giovanni, sometime Donald will come. Well, hopefully he start back MMA and stuff like that. And so I can't let these guys down. I could be feeling like whatever I'm feeling. At that time, we need to get up and we need to get to work.
You ever feel guilty about missing other things for that training time?
No. This is my investment. I know I am on a mission, and the only way I could achieve and my guys could achieve greatness, we need to literally put in that work every day. Dwayne taught me that. Like, I left Caleb because he was only training twice for the week. And I knew from a child, because I used to get my ass whooped when I go to judo tournaments, because I only used to train twice and 3 times a week as a hobby as a kid. And when I go out there, those kids training every day. So when I train with Dwayne and I saw the difference in my performance, when my guys don't show up to a day, I'm angry. Like, if you had to have a real good excuse. If Joshua tell me I'm not coming today, I stand a question. He like I'm his father because, yeah, you have to show up to this.
So you get the text. So I joined the team, right? I joined the team. I've been training for 3 months. And like, what time the session is? 10 o'clock, right?
10 to 12.
10 to 12. So you show up. You there at the gym.
Yeah.
10:02. Message hit your phone. I was like, hey, Joash, boy, something come up. I can't make it. I can't make it to train. I'm real sorry. I know I might be disappointed, but I'll be there tomorrow for sure.
But most of my guys, they show up every day. So
No, me. So we role playing.
Oh,
We role playing. I've been training for 3 months. In a camp. I have a fight. I have a fight coming up like 4 months. In 4 months. So I already training, right? So I in the zone, right? 10 o'clock come.
Right.
You there at the gym.
I'll give you a call.
After I send the message.
No, well, after I send the message, I might be like, you know what? He have been consistent. I see the consistency. He wouldn't miss training unless it's something serious. Then the next day he come, I might be like, what do you say? We all miss something, because I really do miss my guys when they don't show up on a day.
When you're talking like that, you're really vexed on the inside. And it's like, nah, give him a chance, Josh. Give him a chance, Josh. Don't let him
No.
see. Don't let
You
him know
find
what's
it too
going on.
nice.
That's what's going on?
Understanding.
Bullshit I know you on.
Yeah.
You're going to get. I going to like, up front, bro.
That's not a good
You
reason.
ought to know what you want in this life. And if you want to be great, you want to be the best in the world, because we don't really train to compete against Trinidad. We don't really care about Trinidad in terms of just being the best in Trinidad.
Yeah.
Because if I aspire to be the best in the world, obviously I'll be the best in Trinidad.
So I miss one. I miss one. You wouldn't be vexed when you tell me, when you check in on me.
I wouldn't be vexed. I don't really be vexed unless it's a real shit excuse you're giving me. If it's a real shit excuse, I had to clean my room. I might get you some clothes.
All right.
You might get some clothes. Yeah.
My back was cramping up.
No,
And
well,
every time I get up from the bed, my whole back was just
Bring your back and come.
no, well, in a situation like that, your health always first, because
Yeah.
you're putting your body on the line on a daily basis, and you need to see about your health. If you cannot function, you can't handle this kind of grind that we on, because when we grinding, brother, we grinding. It's not no holding back when we inside there. So you won't be 100%, because at the end of the day, you're never at 100%. I train and I have to tape up my foot every day.
Right.
So I lead by example. I'm there every day unless I have something really important to do. So I will ask you, I'll say, bro, we real must say yesterday, because one man short in the camp, that's one less man to work with on that day. So it's like a team effort. And that is what it's all about. Sometimes I'll ball up at you if it's real shit you miss session for, I'll be like, bro, I'll sit down and have a real in-depth talk with you, and that's how it had to go. But it's love. It coming from a place of love and a place of passion, and I care about you 100% as a brother. So that's where you're gonna get it from.
Okay, I hear
Yeah.
you. So
Edson, you get vexed?
if I was get vexed, yeah, definitely. But I don't think people know.
Oh, Lord, so you keep us under the
It'd
surface.
be all on the inside, and I'd send them real nice text messages and just be like, Edson, understand that they have lives outside of this. These are not. Mostly people coming to our gym aren't competitors. We have like a very small amount of
I'm not
competitors.
talking about regular clients.
Yeah.
No,
I'm
they-
talking
they-
about
Yeah.
my competitors.
Yeah.
Only competitors could get me.
Yeah.
Right, I get
Regular
you.
clients, if they miss
mean,
a day, they don't even need to
No, you
message.
understand that. We can understand
Yeah.
that. But if you say you want something and we're working towards it together,
Yeah.
and you decide, you ain't get a ride.
Nah.
So you you ain't coming because you ain't get a ride. It's like, so you couldn't travel.
Nah. We might fight on the spot
Yeah.
right there. Yeah.
Problems.
I'd wanna get more upset the other day, But I
Tell
keep
us.
it together. They have no idea. that they get me upset. I won't call names.
Right.
They did a good job. So I had an athlete who was trying to cut weight, right? And first they had a plan. I had written out a plan, 6-week long plan to follow, and the plan wasn't completely followed, right? They didn't execute the 6-week plan, right? And the plan had certain runs in place that I know if they do these runs based on their weight, it would have worked out, right? So that didn't get executed, and then so there was overweight days before the event. I was like, cool, sometimes this has happened. They've been dedicated otherwise, and then the athlete was worried about making weight. So I was like, cool, don't worry about it. I have a plan for you to lose weight. In terms of dehydrating and how we were going to change the diet and etc. Right? And on the last day, what I was going to do was help them dehydrate without running up and down too much, without doing too much workout, so they still have a lot of energy for the competition. And they told me that they had a class they didn't want to miss on the day of the weigh-in.
What kind of class is that?
Like in school, a school class, right? And I was just like, all right. But it was overweight by like 6 pounds or 8 pounds or something like that.
That was a built-in excuse?
If it was a built-in excuse.
How they have a class?
That
was a built-in excuse that they had a class on that day.
If it was a
built-in excuse not to show up to the weigh-in.
No, they really had a class. They really had a class. Okay. But I guess in my mind, it was just like, okay, so we had a plan, and then we had a second plan that didn't get executed. I was like, all right, well, we have this third plan that I could do to help.
And it goes to jeopardize the third plan.
They was like, nah, I can't do that third plan because school real important, and well, school real important, and they don't want to do it. And I was just like, all right, okay, person young. This person young. This who's rodeo.
Yeah, he go get blind the first
he
time.
he got a real nice political response. I was just like, this is why I was like, no, I was not. I wasn't like this when I was competing. Cause I mean, and my thought process is like, right before an event, that's like the most important time to really have all the ducks in a row, or whatever. So, but yeah, so that was like that was something that'd get me upset, but they would have never know. I don't think they had
Right.
any idea that I'd gotten upset.
Right.
But yeah.
But he deserve a blind for the first time. Is
And he made weight. He did make weight.
Oh, well,
he
that's
made
good, that's good,
and he
man.
made his weight.
Good to hear that.
Yeah.
Because my experience cutting weight is a very stressful time in your life. I cut a lot of weight. I cut up to 35 pounds to fight and stuff like that.
But you mean a long
7
cut?
weeks.
A 7 week cut.
7
Was
week cut.
was the biggest?
Cut.
Was the biggest 24-hour cut you ever hit?
Well, because I have my cut down to a science, it don't be a lot. It'll probably be like 8 pounds or something like that.
8 pounds. Okay.
Yeah.
I think I do a 10 already. I think I do a 10.
You see
In
now,
24 hours?
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
in 24,
It feel terrible.
it's
'Cause
terrible.
it's 10 pounds
especially-
of water. 10 pounds of water is gone.
well, if you sweat like me,
It's 10 pounds or
if you
something
sweat
else.
like somebody like Jeremy, 10 pounds you'll lose in 2 hours. Okay, he sweat profusely, but me on the other hand, no, I really don't sweat that much. So I had to work in that sauna. I had to be trembling in the sauna to create more heat. Is a lot. But what helped, because it's so scientific, the lack of sodium and the lack of carbs, which will help you to retain water.
Yeah.
We have it down to our science. So the water will eventually, you will eradicate the water, and even in your sleep, you lose an extra pound. But I've been doing it for quite a while. But you need to give him a little grace, and
Yeah, for
at
sure.
least this
You
is
have
his
no
first
idea.
time. He now feeling it out. He don't even know what he was getting himself into. That kind of thing.
So I mean, you know what? At the end of the day, too, I mean, I was at crossroads when he told me, because I mean, you'll know who it is now. But he was like, how, he really wanted to focus on his education as well. And, even though he signed up for this event, his personal thing was that he didn't want to sacrifice from his education to go after it. And I was just like,
You want to balance it too.
Respected. That's respectable.
that's respectable.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
respectable. And so I was just like, all right, cool. I understand where you're coming from. I understand where you're coming from. And I was like, I think I just kept trying to
Telling
program
yourself
myself.
that.
I was like, I'm program myself. I was picturing like, what my coach would I say, boy? What my coach would I say if you like, first thing, I would have began from the beginning. Like, if you was on weight like the 2 weeks before, then it'd be held up 2 weeks ago. So it was just interesting to hear. I guess the new Gen Z is a lot more vocal about their beliefs and what they think is right. And I try to respect it, because I think sometimes they do get it right. It's just be shocking to hear.
But I definitely applaud him for
Yeah.
actually saying it, because he probably could have been timid and shut in a cocoon or something
yeah.
like that.
He
But
brought
he
it-
actually
brought it.
brought it out, and he like, what is he seeing? This is my
Yeah.
education. I
Yeah.
want to do the both of them. So you just have to.
Because
know
you
how to
remember
flex
too, like for
forward.
school, according to the degree you're doing, you're putting a lot into it the same way you're putting a lot into your sports, and you don't want to sacrifice your grades and sacrifice the entire, output that you made to get this class passed
Yeah.
for something else that you're working hard on. And if you really believe and you're committed to balancing the two, it's applaudable.
I guess my personal approach to life, which is not the correct one, is just what's worked for me, because I've been doing a lot of things.
Gotta prioritize.
It's just like a prioritization with time. Like there's an ebb and flow of, okay, my exam is here and the fight is here.
All right.
Right now the fight coming up, I go in and put all my focus on the fight.
Right.
And then after the fight, flip the switch and get ready for the exam after that. As opposed to some people, I think, let's be fighting. I'm to try to have a balance from the start of the race. Like, I go in and keep it equal studying and training,
Okay.
and try to do that. But then when you do that up to the first checkpoint, then you'd have had this balance where you spend a lot of time studying and less time training.
Right.
And can you remember the things for the exam that you're studying from all those weeks ago? But you might be able to remember. It kind of depends. It kind of depends on the person.
Sometimes you
and,
might
how
need
they
to,
set
to
up.
lean more on one
Yeah.
for a period of
As I-
time.
yeah, so
and
I'll
then lean more on
yeah,
the other.
exactly.
So it's
I'll
kind
lean
of
to
time
one side
management.
and then come back to the next side. Yeah.
But who is the best person to tell him that than someone who actually walk the path like you? You bring it to me what you usually do, because I saying how Edson Breedy do all of this. How? So you are the best person because you actually walk the walk. You don't just talk the talk. So you probably could say, well, this is what I do at this point in time. If the fight is here, and just what you said there, and you could relay that to him, and that could help him, because you remember he's now trying to find his way going forward.
Yeah.
This is the first time he do it. Everything just chaotic in his life. So if you could impart that knowledge, because you went through that experience already, that could probably help him moving forward.
Yeah, so his next fight, you could say, remember what happened last time.
Yeah.
So to avoid that, we do this. Remember the plan?
Yeah.
Remember the plan?
So if we were to get back to the question from scratch,
Yeah.
what would you say would be the correct pathway for somebody who wanted to start MMA now in Trinidad and Tobago? They're a teen, somebody who is like could make their own decisions. What do you think they should do?
So as we said earlier, we call out the gyms.
Rough
join a-
House, Southern
yeah.
Warriors of Mixed Martial Arts, Hit Fit, Edson Breedy Athletics, and Gracie Jiu-Jitsu.
Yeah, with Warren Gill.
And are there any other schools really besides?
Well,
these
well,
four
there
that
are other
offering?
schools that claim to do MMA, but holistically, are they really doing MMA? There are a lot of schools here and there, but they're probably more known for one
Individual,
discipline,
yeah.
but they claim to do MMA because it's a great marketing opportunity for a school to say they're doing MMA, because it's the fastest growing sport now. It's promoted in every movie now, and UFC is like this big marketing machine with ONE FC and PFL and all these great companies that marketing and bombarding us so much that MMA is becoming the biggest thing, and I think in the next 10 years it's going to be the biggest thing. But join an MMA school, one reputable MMA school that partake in multiple martial arts.
Right.
That's one. One of these schools that we call, that would be perfect. Get involved in, well, I think Rabs may be doing MMA now, so it may
Okay.
have opportunities to do MMA in Rabs. Get into all the events that you could do. Do kickboxing fights, do MMA fights, do boxing fights, take part in boxing nationals. Get as much experience on the local stage as possible.
What do you
there.
think they should start with? I guess it depends
Well,
on the
if
school.
they join an MMA school, they should be doing, that's why I say an MMA school, they should be doing all.
Right.
You have to do everything in this day and age. You can't be one-dimensional.
Competition-wise, what do you think they should start with? Or it depends on the athlete.
because the MMA schools offer, most of them offer all, you'll have to do all. But if you have a choice to start, say like if you're starting you want to start your child in one art and it's a traditional art, I will think the closest thing to wrestling is judo.
Okay. If they're going a traditional route.
If you're going that traditional route, I will start in judo, the grappling arts. Why the grappling arts? To me is like the foundation of where or who could control the fight. It's all about who could control the fight at the end of the day.
So you'd send them judo instead of a Brazilian jiu-jitsu school?
I will send them judo from scratch, so you learn to throw. So you could send someone a Brazilian jiu-jitsu school, and a lot of the Brazilian jiu-jitsu schools, how much wrestling is done in the Brazilian jiu-jitsu school. Now I can know Brazilian jiu-jitsu, but if I don't have a
Entrance.
clue how to take you down to the ground, and you's a taekwondo guy, you coming to kick me in my head, right? And I'm a jiu-jitsu guy, and I cannot take you down for God's sake. I cannot control the fight and get you to the ground. how I am going to apply my jiu-jitsu. Am
You-
I going to pull guard or jump up and
you
hug
wouldn't,
you?
you wouldn't say that the jiu-jitsu schools that we have now. Let's say I would say the two most prominent jiu-jitsu schools we have right now would be Island Parada and
Right,
Gracie,
Island Parada and Gracie
Gracie
Jiu-Jitsu.
Jiu-Jitsu.
Yeah.
You don't think that they do a lot of takedown and throws? It's not enough because you come from a judo background. It's like you could tell the difference between like specializing in throwing people and
Yes.
just sprinkling throwing people.
Get that background. Say like as a kid,
Mm-hmm.
say like if you're joining your child and you want to go traditional route, but it'll be hard to say judo also because I don't know how well of a job judo is doing promoting themselves. I don't know what the school system look like. So I may really have to lean to something like jiu-jitsu. I may really have to lean to it because I don't know what the judo settings in Trinidad is like on the different stages, and I don't know how much students they really do have and how much competition they throw on a monthly or quarterly basis or stuff like that. So I will have to, if I really have to make a decision now, I'll say better they do the jiu-jitsu. And hopefully they could get some kind of wrestling out. I know Island Parada is opening a new place now,
next
so
one?
I know
Okay.
they will be wrestling
Like
a lot
two,
more.
so they'll have two places, or they're just changing.
They opening a new place right now.
It looks so neat. I've never been, but the place just looks really neat, boy. It has a nice little layout.
But they outgrow there a long time. But they opening a new place closer to Peaks in Port of Spain. Actually, at the end of this month, they will be opening. I actually just concluded a session with them. And,
Right.
yeah, that'll be a great place. So by Warren Gill. Warren Gill, he does wrestling and he has like little judo background and stuff like that. He have a man like Rondell Benjamin, who is like a great wrestler and a great judoka. So you have guys like that in your camp. A guy like Caleb Edwards, who is a black belt in judo. I know Benji's a black belt in BJJ and judo. So that is a wonderful camp to be in. Warren is solid himself. I usually train with them, and I'm probably going to train with them tomorrow, please the Lord. Yeah, so, but say like if pound for pound, like if judo was at that level where they have everything, I would say start in judo and venture out into the grappling and then venture out in the striking.
Okay. So, when it comes to their start, you'd say join an MMA gym and try to compete as soon as possible. So they
As
should
much
be,
as possible.
right.
As much as possible when your coach tell you you're ready to compete,
They-
grappling tournaments, everything.
they should be thinking about training how many times a week?
At the
Five.
beginning, I
Three
would
to
say
five?
3 times
Yeah.
a week. You want to gradually increase it. You need to gradually. You don't want to get burnt out. One, and you know the gradual progression of life. You have to start down here and then climb the ladder. So I would say 3 days a week. And as you start to get deeper, I don't know if there's elite teams, but my gym have an elite team, which we train midday, and it have other classes and stuff like that. So if you really want to double up, you could kind of shuffle it and make.
So
more
somebody could
classes.
start with HitFit, decide they want to be a competitor, and end up training 2 a days.
Yeah, so a lot of our MMA guys could also come to the kickboxing session. You just pay $100 more. $500 and you get to do kickboxing and MMA. So you could come to the kickboxing and start to sharpen your kickboxing on a different level because we try to make the kickboxing class fun because we have to cater for more right now is more recreational kickboxers. But guess what? I am a purist and I like to teach the art. But then the class has to be fun too. So we have to teach the art because I love my art. I believe the people that come to HitFit, if you train at HitFit for 6 months, you should at least be able to defend yourself in some way or the other.
Right.
For somebody throw a slap at you, you must know to high cover or slip or block. You must have some kind of reactionary, what you call it? Reactionary.
Just a reaction, yeah.
Yeah, a reaction to whatever is being thrown. You would learn a proper jab across eventually, knees, elbows. We try to make it fun.
Right.
So you have the opportunity to come those classes also. Most of the MMA guys double up, so they come kickboxing and then they do MMA after.
Okay. All right. So
Competition wise, rough and tough.
you'd say this shit could start off in rough and tough.
Rough and tough will be one of the best MMA places to start. Why they fighting shin guards, padded gloves, is all geared under the IMMAF, which is the international MMA body, the course that we did.
Right.
It's all geared for that next big stage. So you start at one level. So the kids, they will be fighting, but no headshots. They will all be punching to the body, no ground and pound. When it reach on the ground, it's only grappling.
Right.
So it's geared towards that Olympic dream and
Rough and
building
tough.
that.
Rough and tough has a kids tournament as well.
Well, they want to get deep into it because actually rough and tough. Trinidad will be hosting the Pan American Games for MMA this year. This year, yeah.
Right,
I think it will be like the 12th of July. It's either June or July. I'll give you all. You'll have to post the date.
Right.
And we have guys like Joshua James. Hopefully, some of my guys will be compete. Joshua James is one of the big prospects for this event coming up. He said he's going to win gold, and he's putting in the work, and I believe he's going to win gold. He has his sights set on Pan American Games and World Championship, having that taste of it last year, the first taste he got last
So
year.
I mean, I love Joshua. I think he's a great, exciting, up and coming athlete. He's full of testosterone and confidence. I know sometimes it scares me a little bit because I'll be like, because he coaches by me.
Yeah.
I'll be trying to get his feedback on athletes and how they do it, and he'd be like, they're great. Yeah, they're going to win. They're going to win for sure. We taking them out. I'll be like,
He's a hype man.
what kind of feedback again from Joshua here, boy? Is this real feedback or is this Joshua's hyped feedback? Because he'll always be like, yeah, I have nobody beating me, ting. But what's funny is today I randomly asked him after his session because he knew I was going to be chatting with you today. I was like, hey, you could take Joash on. And this is the first time he responded. He was like, it'll be a battle boy. That'll be a real battle boy.
That's a humble experience. That's a humble response for Joshua.
That's a real. You never hear Joshua say something like that.
It's a real humble
and
response.
I was like, yeah, he have too much energy in the tank. I say, yeah, boy, the tank real full. He have real energy, and and obviously the wrestling and stuff, right? The energy tank, which you do have. I mean, I've seen that, I would never see you tired in the fight against Sosa. I saw him get tired like by third round, and you still had a lot of energy to keep going. How do you think you keep that level of fight cardio up? Like, how is that?
Well,
Because you have a lot of people training 5 days a week, doing all kind of thing. But why like what you think you're doing differently that allows you to keep that level of fight cardio?
everybody train 5 days a week. How consistent? I've been doing this for over 10 years now. Like, this is all I breed. And actually training with guys like Dwayne Hines. Little did I know at that time Dwayne Hines was that great. When you have someone at that level to push you on a daily basis, and you are like, so how Dwayne Hines is to me is how I am to Joshua. Like coach, training partner, brother. Dwayne Hines, that grind he put and that pace he pushed on me, everybody else pace is like a walk in the park.
Right.
Because I got accustomed dealing with Dwayne at a high level, and it's survival mode I am in at that high level.
Describe what you mean. What that mean? Like, explain what was going on.
Dwayne is like a friggin' bear, bro. It's like you fighting against a bear, and all you just fighting is for survival. You defend one technique, is a next technique coming, and he's not using his strength. He's using flow. that flow. So he just float on top of you, wrap up your neck, tap, tap, tap. Next 10 seconds, arm bar, tap, tap, tap. Take you back, tap, tap, tap. And he'll take you down at any point in time, hold you down.
And that just sharpening your skills.
My survival skills, like,
But
I had to survive. It was chaotic. Imagine every day you in a chaotic environment. When you are against lower level guys, it's peace. I'm at peace with anyone.
Calm, cool, and
But like, how
collected.
long was the session? How long? Like, what kind of like what you was doing? Like, what you was doing on a daily when you was at peak craziness? What you was doing time wise, round wise, that made it different? Like it was.
Bro,
Yeah.
it's the same pace I kept. Like, I was reaching to work 5 o'clock in the morning. I've been doing this for years. Like, I've been training in a trainer at Long Circular Gym. I had to reach to work for 5 in the morning. Train with Dwayne at 1. At that time, it was 1 o'clock. Sometimes, depends on how work. So I used to finish 1, and then they give me an evening shift. So sometimes my boss used to give me that little time. And then I used to go and work a midday shift for my boss. And then I'll take on an evening shift. So I reaching home in a Rima quite in the night. So I kept that pace. And then you have training at Rough House. So that I've been doing that for years. And then having Dwayne beat you up every day because you are his best training partner and his only training partner. Well, most of the times his only training partner. So I just get used to being and surviving and living in that chaos. So now chaos is just like a walk in the park to me. So that is why I am able to maintain. Now, if I am fighting in that chaotic zone, my cortisol levels they're so high. It's so high. I'm winded, I'm dying, and I'm just trying to survive. Now, when I'm in the driver's seat and I'm able to be the aggressor, I'm able to do
Just
that
relax,
all day.
yeah.
I'm able to do that all day. So the tables just turn. So now I could apply the pressure, and I'm not in that chaotic zone.
So what you
therefore I could-
essentially what you're attributing it to is that the level between you and Dwayne was so high, was so big.
Yeah.
The gap was so big that the training time allowed you now to put on to get so skillful that now you can train for a long period of time with people who are much lower in level.
Yeah, and even though if you're at my level, I'm going and put a pace on you, I will be coming because I will be causing the chaos because that's what I that's what I thrive in. I thrive in chaos.
How long were the sessions back then?
2 hours. 2
With
hours.
back then with
Yeah,
doing,
2
and you used to have one session a day with him.
I used to have, well, in the beginning, it used to be like 2 sessions for the day. So we would train like for an hour and a half, and then we have another training, like when camp coming up. But most of the times, it used to be just 1 session for the day.
Okay.
Yeah, so now, to push forward, and that's why I could be a pressure fighter because I accustomed to the chaos. I live and I breathe and I thrive in that. So that's the air that I breathe. So that is food to my body. And everybody will complain about the pressure because Dwayne was my training partner.
Now they
That's
in
why I beat
survival
up my
mode.
athletes. Pardon.
Now they in survival mode. Your athletes.
That's why I have Joshua James and them under pressure every day. Pressure. When I go in against them, I see what pressure did to me. Pressure
Right.
create a diamond, which is unbreakable. And guess what? It's also precious. So I apply that pressure to them. So when it's chaotic in a fight, they get rocked, boom. And they start to see stars. They could remember, boy, I've been here before. I've been in, this is, when they reach in a fight, it's not like the first time they've been in with the back against the wall. So if they could breed this and get comfortable at this level, who is there out there to really push them? I don't think it will have an amateur to really push Joshua to that limit where I push, because I think I could beat every one of them amateurs that he come across.
Yeah.
So when he gets into that zone, he will have a level of comfort.
Yeah, expecting great things from Joshua.
Of course.
He go and
Of
go.
course.
He go and go there.
And I have some other athletes that people haven't seen as yet, and they haven't heard as yet,
Okay.
like Gerard and another Joshua Ups, and when we release them, the world will.
So we seen them this year. We
The world
seen them.
will know their name.
We seen them this year for
Definitely, you're gonna
Rough and
see.
Tough.
You're gonna see Ups and Gerard. You're gonna see them in action, and so Joshua, I am the pressure. I will pressure Joshua, and Joshua will pressure them. So it's like, now in any sport or to me the principle to growth in life, you need to have all three to maximize your growth, right? So you need to have people below you who you could pressure, so you build your offense.
Yeah.
So you build your offensive game with the lower levels. You need to have people on your level where you have to watch
Challenge it.
yourself. It's a chess match. And then it have the people above you to pressure you now to give you that
Push.
defense and that sense of urgency and that pressure and that grind. So with all three of that in your camp, you will maximize your talent. And if you think about it, in nature is the same thing. In nature, when you throw a seed on the ground, it had to go against the elements. It had to go against the birds and the bees and stuff like that, and then it had to shoot up, and it still had the elements and all these things to deal with. So it shows you that it happened in nature, and it is the same.
I feel you. So I know we talked about your junior athletes. We talked about your program. I'm not sure if you could talk about it, but what's next? Was the plan? Or you can't talk about that right
The
now.
situation is a bittersweet moment. I went for my visa for the third time. First time I was a bit young. Second time I applied for the wrong visa. Third time I went for my US visa and I was turned down. Now, most of my opportunities are in the States.
States, right.
Once I get my visa, the world will know my name, and I could tell you that. But having this happen, having my visa turned down for no reason, I don't know if I had to get married or get house and land or whatever to actually show that I don't want to stay in your country.
Yeah.
But most of my opportunities are in the States, and it was a little disheartening.
It got to know this year?
A few weeks about, it was the 4th of this month I had my appointment, 4th or the 3rd, 4th of this month. It was a bit disheartening, but at the end of the day, I know that my steps are ordered by the Almighty, and it's really not my will, but it's whatever will that the Almighty has for me in my life. I may be too close to the picture right now, and I may not see the plan that He has for me, but guess what? He had the plan. He know what it is all about.
How
He
long-
bring me this
Timing.
far.
How long you have to wait?
Timing is everything.
I don't have to wait. I could reapply immediately, which I'm going to do.
But there's no explain to you what went wrong with the application.
No.
There's no say anything.
Well, no.
They don't really tell you why they deny your application.
Right.
It's crazy.
They might think that you just don't have enough ties here. Although you have a business running and stuff, they might think you don't have
Business
enough
runner.
ties.
So you had to submit like a letter and thing?
Bro.
It's a long online
So you have-
application.
It's an online application.
Right.
I had to put everything on that they asked for.
Really?
I had all my documents. They didn't even ask for a document. They interview me and she just say, well, you got turned down. Look this piece of paper, read that and see what it's
So
about.
in the interview, they
Try
talk.
again.
There was talk about like, hey, I'm a fighter. I'm going. You're going for a specific competition, or
Well-
you just getting it in case of a.
What I went for, I don't know if you know Dre the Bull.
Yeah, yeah.
So Dre the Bull he's an MMA fighter, top rank.
With Trinidadian roots,
featherweight,
right?
He's Trinidadian,
Yeah.
but reside in the state. He was World Series of Champion, World Series of Fighting champion. He was in the PFL and all these things. So I was just trying to go to a camp with Henry Hoof, that's Killcliff, just to sharpen my skills, get better at the art, test myself against, because they have UFC fighters and they have really good guys, and that is just the opportunity I was looking forward to. And on the other hand, there are promotions that looking forward to me fighting on their card. So yeah, it's not
I
my
would
will.
like to say if anybody who had a plug, who had a link listening to the podcast, or the link up Joash now.
Yes, they have somebody.
Let him
watching
go
this
and
podcast
represent
who
us.
know how
Let
to
him
organize
represent
this.
us.
I
Shoot us a comment. Shoot us a comment.
No, this is my my lifelong dream. I've been in this sport for over 20 years, 23 years to be exact, going on 24. And I just want one opportunity to prove myself. I just want
Where you want to go? Where's picture it being?
I want
UFC,
to, I want
one
to
FC.
be in
What
the
just pick?
UFC. I
Just
want
picture
to
UFC.
I want to get
I want to watch
Dana
that
White
fight.
contender series
Ooh.
opportunity. I want to prove myself to everyone. And I know I could do it. I compete against guys from Russia and all over the world, and I could beat anyone in the world. And I definitely believe that wholeheartedly. I put everything into
Into
this.
it.
I just want one opportunity. Oh, Father.
To show them.
Just to prove.
I think you'll get it.
Of course.
I'm feeling it.
Timing
You
is
feeling,
everything.
Of course.
feeling
Timing is
electricity coming off
everything.
of Joash.
Oh, you
yeah,
mean?
know,
My point
and
raising.
If you have
Yeah,
faith
it-
as
it
a
go-
mustard
it'll go.
seed,
It's
you
gonna
can
happen.
move mountains.
It's gonna happen.
And I definitely have that faith that I'll get through. It will happen in the right time because
Yeah.
I've been inactive for 5 years. And at times I really wanted to question God and say, hey, 5 years of doing, I wasn't able to do the thing that I loved the most in those 5 years. But God had other lessons to teach me in those 5 years. He had business to teach me. From COVID, I started selling face shields, the fancy one. I had my
right.
break. I was the man selling those shields. Like, started selling massage guns, bring down stuff from China, and I started learning how you do stuff from China and bring in. If you see my bags, you realize my bags have head fit on it. It's branded out because I learned over the COVID how to do this stuff, and
Marketing.
that was the lesson I had to learn. He had to take me away from the thing that I love the most to steer me in another part, because most MMA fighters, to be honest, they fight out their career and then they have nothing to look to. And then they're kicked with depression when it's done because they look for that higher fight.
Most athletes.
A lot of athletes,
Yeah.
they don't have anything to fall back on. So
Well,
God,
And
it's
they
not just that,
settle.
you know. It's not
They
just
settle for something
It's
that
not
they
just that
don't
they do have. It's not just that they do have anything to fall back on, you know. But just the amount of dopamine and excitement you just get from like peak performance, gameplay or fighting or whatever. When you come down to regular life,
Nothing else could really
nothing-
compare.
Nothing else
Yeah,
compared to it.
nobody's
'Cause
satisfying that.
You out there fighting with Conor McGregor or Adesanya or whatever, and now you come back and the highlight of your day as well. Well, we're going to go to the cinema Friday, watch whatever movie.
and money
You
does
can't-
done.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
money's it done because there's a lot of investments you have to put into your camp.
Yeah.
People don't see it. I heard fighters talking about that. There's a lot of investments, so that money will done. And if you don't have plans when you retire, you have to go and work a regular job. But guess what? God put something in place that I have something. So I have 4 more years in this sport, and after I'll try to be the best coach in the world.
Okay, so I mean that's real good, positive thinking, real good positive thinking, and brings me. It makes me think about a question. What a psychology teacher asked me this week in class, right? Well, not me. She asked it. She brought up a scenario to like test how people were thinking. All right. So I want to put the question to you and see what your response is. Right.
Bring it.
So, you're in a plane headed to the U.S. Let's put it that way. You're heading to you're headed to Russia, right? And somewhere along the flight, your plane crashes. You end up in the wilderness somewhere. You are the lone survivor, right? And you're on your last piece of food. Is a slice of cake, right? And you torches, you're now about to eat this cake, and you know it's the last piece of food, no other food left. And you think you hear a sound like a plane or something, so you run off to look for the plane, looking up in the sky, and you can't see it, and then you realize, okay, the sound go and you can't find anything, and going back to find the cake, and the cake is overrun with ants. It overrun with ants, right? What would you do?
What would I do?
Yeah. It's not about to eat your last piece of cake.
Well, those ants, they will be part of the meal.
Protein.
They will be part of my meal.
I hear ants high in
They will be
protein.
part of my meal.
You could
I'm
dust
gonna
off as much as you could, but you're eating
I
that
get
cake.
the tattoo shake and
Yeah.
oh my, just I don't know. It's cake. It's kind of delicate, so you can't really.
Slap it up.
But yeah, they'll be part of my meal. Survival for the fittest.
Listen, that was my answer in the
course.
question. So she went around asking everybody in the class, right? And people was like, they go kick away the cake in anger. People,
Anger.
yeah, like they'd be just so upset. Somebody was like, how they really like ants. So how they might cuss and hit away the cake or something. Somebody was like, how they might try to break up the cake in the part where the ants on and where the part where the ant and eat the part where the ants off. And I was like, listen, I
protein.
eating all lemons. And then,
I eating all
and then
lemons.
after I was thinking about it after, I was like, no, I'd be worse. I know I would be like, okay, they have ants on this cake. These ants come from somewhere. So I might start. I'll pick while I have this cake with the ants. I'll go and find where the ants nest is and be like, okay, my next meal, I have a whole
pack of
ants nest.
ants.
I have a whole ants nest.
Protein.
Plus,
Yeah.
these ants know the terrain.
True.
These ants know the terrain. These ants probably
them, yeah.
follow them. They might find other dead animals and think, boom, I get more food. And the
that's
people
genius, though.
people was like, how they not eating the cake? People not eating the cake, whatever. And it went into something called something that affects certain people, called the cognitive triad, right? Or the negative, Beck's cognitive triad. And it could be, it's people kind of talk about it like negative views about the world. Like their core belief is that they have negative views about the world, right? And that could lead to people having negative views about the future.
Yeah.
And then that could lead to them having negative views about themselves. And it's kind of like spiral out. It's just kind of,
All negative.
it just kind of, rotate. And essentially, any situation that they see, all they could see is like the negative version of it and not be able to be like, we boy, again, like about 10, 15 grams of protein. You might get 10 grams. You might get 10 grams of protein from if it covered in ants.
Yeah.
Right? But every problem has a solution. Every problem has a solution. So wherever a problem is here, they have a solution for it somewhere. It's just if you could figure it out. If you could figure it out. And the more positive you stay, the more likely you are to find a solution. And the more negative you fall, the more negative the mindset is that you fall into, the less likely it is for you to find the solution to the problem. You know?
So, how I would deal with a situation like that? If you place a pitya this close to your face, you can't see anything, right? And as you put that pitya further and further, it starts to make sense. So sometimes people are in a situation, and the heat of the situation is bombarding them, and they don't have the time to really think. Obviously, you will go through the emotions. You have to let the emotions fly. That is all nature. But if you really, as time go on, you take a step back and look at the picture, then you will actually see what it is about. And if you're, how to put it, if you're not biased, like in this negative aspect, you'll be able to take the pros and the cons out of it.
I feel like based on also what you said about some people having this negative spiral or sequence of thinking, that you could lose sight of what would happen in the actual moment. So you're saying that that's what you would do now, because all you could think about is that you don't like ants.
It's true.
But if you was
week
really
later.
starving,
A week later.
if you was
you'd be-
really, really starving out in the wild, and you come back and you see them ants mightn't phase you at all. So I wasn't in India for 5 weeks, and it was one of the nastiest places I've ever been. And I'm a person, I don't like to go to restaurants and see, vermin and cockroaches and stuff. I would leave immediately. But by the third week, me and the cockroaches cool. That cockroach all under the table, all on the wall, and I eating the food that had ants in my plate.
Which part of
There
India
were
was
ants
this?
in my plates in Rishikesh. And I just kind of plucked them out.
In your
The ants in your
plate,
what?
They were live ants walking around
Oh,
on a
on the
plate
plate,
of
like
food that I was
ants.
served in a restaurant. And I literally, at that point, I was the third or fourth week I was in India. At that point, on the lands. At that point, it was just on the
I
lands.
eat and drink girl ants already.
Yeah.
But in Trinidad, if I go to a restaurant and there's a cockroach on the floor, I am gone.
Nah.
I'm sorry, I'm not eating there because this is the dining area and the cockroaches are all going on in the kitchen.
But would you eat cockroaches on a whole? Like, you know,
No.
they inject these cockroaches with teriyaki sauce
No,
and all these
I don't eat
things.
no
You eat
cockroach.
at all?
Me need to know cockroach.
Yeah, I
I'm
do.
sorry.
You will?
I eat the ants.
I'll probably eat like
Especially
spiders and scorpions.
the ones that bread, because they have insects that bread.
So they're not
for
really
food.
just struggling out here in the
No,
garbage
they're like-
outside
they're like
and
in a-
carrying disease.
Yeah, they're like in a kitchen, like in a lab, and they bread.
That
not
different.
eating no
The
cockroach.
chocolate
The
covered
things I'm
cockroaches.
eating is rat and cockroaches.
Yeah, I need to know rat and I need to know kobo.
You can't eat rat and
You'd-
cockroaches
why?
if you're from Trinidad. As-
You'd eat iguana.
Of course.
So the same way you say that, right? Yeah, so you know how you talk about things being right here?
Yeah.
The same way you say that, people in other countries would be like, well, you saying a what? Iguana, right? And so, I mean, it was real funny. Like when I was in Japan, we'd go to like festivals. They have festivals for everything. And it'd be like chocolates, marshmallows, bean curd, cookies, cockroaches, grasshoppers.
Crickets.
And it'll just be like right in the same, it'll be like delicious, cockroaches there, and it'll just be
You
like,
got that in Japan?
yeah, it's like they have like things that's be fried. So they
When
have
I
like
went
this
Japan,
fried.
I was asking for like snake and all these things, and they say you don't get these things in Japan.
It's probably in the wrong
Snake.
place.
I didn't get snake, but I got bear, and you know what? I'm not sure if it was cockroaches. I think it was actually grasshoppers. It was grasshoppers.
They do
that was
crickets
fried.
and grasshoppers, I think.
Because
eat
I think it was like crickets and grasshoppers. I don't
covered
think it was
crickets and
cockroaches.
thing.
But it was definitely, it had the same kind of structure. You know, you watch it like it's a fried insect.
Antlers.
A fried insect that's about this big, right? And it was deep fried. It was a deep fried insect. Yeah, it tastes good. The thing tastes good. It tastes good. Yeah, yeah.
Serious? Okay. I
saw-
probably will eat it. I'll probably eat the grasshopper.
But
Again,
I
when you-
don't think,
stigma. There's
I
a
don't
stigma
think
of
I
the
can
cockroach.
eat cockroaches and rat. Mentally,
As
What
you
about
say,
a
in
mouse?
Trinidad, we need to
A
know.
white mouse.
a lab mouse. Nah, boy, I don't know. Anything like rat and mouse, I don't think it'll sit well in my head. And I come from a hunting background.
Yeah.
My uncle was a hunter. I used to like literally shoot kiskadis and blue jeans off the power line with a pellet gun, and we will stew it up and cook with dumplings.
Right,
and you
right.
seen these
Yeah.
little birds with, well, we had to cut them, and you see them like this in the pot and stuff like that, and it's small like that, and you could literally shove a kiskadi in your mouth or a blue,
Yeah.
you know, a khaki,
2 bites
you
and
know,
you're
that
done.
thing, and yeah, you have fun with that, but I just think it wins it mentally. I'll feel
how-
the vomit probably with a cockroach or a rat.
I think by the time you get that hungry, that it become an option, you're going to eat it.
I would like
How
to
long you
try
think?
dog though. Dog, I will eat dog.
I sh-
I
I
sure
will
you
eat
eat dog
dog.
already. I sure you just know
You
to
have
the
eaten
Chinese
dog already.
restaurant.
For sure. 100%
I
sure
sure you
eat
ate dog
For sure.
already.
For sure, for sure. I sure you did.
I've eaten monkey.
I've eaten monkey before too.
I don't think I ever ate monkey.
You see the
before.
little hand curl.
The hand curl up in the pot.
Like
I've
this.
been there.
Where you get a?
Some while we.
I came
Yeah.
from a hunting line, yeah.
Okay,
I
okay.
came from a hunting background, lap, kuti, tattoo, manikou,
Horse.
guana.
You eat horse?
Yeah, I ate horse. Alligator.
I ate horse. And it was
Came on,
delicious.
came on.
My mom made horse. It was delicious. You
The
have
thing about horse is that to tenderize it for real long.
it was like very sweet beef. It tasted so good. It tasted,
I've had that. It was a long time ago, but yeah.
You ever had like cayman?
I
It
did.
tastes like shark kind of.
I was
I
gonna say it
did, and I
tastes
don't think I don't think I liked it. But I think it was the preparation.
Yeah, if bro,
Yeah.
if my cousins and them do a park cayman,
How did
you will like,
they barbecued it? This barbecue.
curry stew. You could fry it like shark. My cousin died that time, and they are Chinese, and they did like a Chinese style. That thing tastes so
Crispy
good.
skin came on.
Cayman, pardon?
I said crispy skin came on.
It was with vegetables.
Right.
you know,
Okay.
sauces. And
Interesting.
that thing was delicious. So it was delicious. Trust me.
Sometimes I see like in like Florida, people just be like barbecuing the alligators and thing. The way they be doing this look like it'll taste real good.
Yeah. And I had the opportunity of like cleaning it. Like you have to. So when you kill it, you have to like. So you'll cut from underneath the neck, and you'll probably have
Caymans.
Cayman. Yeah, you'll have to get like those cutter knives, those box cutter knives. You get one like that, and you separate the skin, and you start to, and the skin start to peel off, and you cut the arms here, and they cut it all the way down, and they start to peel it off the arm and
Oh wow.
wrong here, and then you go down to the tail, and when it's done, you have the whole
Inner
the
Skin. the whole,
structure.
yeah,
Flesh.
the
hide,
armor.
the hide.
Yeah.
Yeah, the skin, and you're just seeing like this naked, muscular. Yeah, but you have to be careful how you
These
the
skin it.
inside. I think the what you call that? Not the bile. The if you burst it, they say it's usually poisonous or diarrhea or whatever. So when you're cleaning it, yeah.
All right. I'm going to give you a blind top 5 here. All right? So I'm going to call 5 MMA fighters.
Yeah.
Right? And what I want you to do, you don't know who in the 5 that I'm going to call, but you have to rank them from 1 to 5. Right? So you're putting them in a spot as 1 will be the best one. And then as you get the name, you choose in which spot they go and get.
Off the bat.
Off the bat. And you don't know who coming after. All right, so we just.
That'll be tough though.
So I'll go and see where.
That'll be tough. Because you don't know who coming after.
You don't know who
All
coming
let's
after,
see.
right?
There we go.
Israel Adesanya. 5. You have 5 spots. You don't know who coming after.
I'll give Israel 3. I hope it's better people coming. I'll give him a 3. Just hoping it's better people coming.
John Jones.
1.
Conor McGregor.
2.
Michael Venom Page.
5.
Sugar Sean O'Malley.
Well, he'll have to get the 4th spot.
Yeah,
Well,
they only have 1 spot.
No choice.
So now that you look at it,
Perfect.
you like it that way?
Pound for pound, John Jones, he has never really lost.
Right.
He beat out different eras. To me, he's the best pound for pound. Although say drugs and whatever, he have that stigma, but that is the GOAT of all time. So he get a number 1 at the end of the day.
But John Jones is he was caught for using PEDs, or is more so like recreational drugs that he was.
Yeah, PEDs
His performance enhancement.
and recreational drugs, both.
Okay. All right. Well, Joash, it was awesome having you on. I'd love to have you on in the future,
Definitely.
especially after you get your contract this year. Right? After you get a contract this year, I'd love to have you on. After that first fight when you come back. Anybody from
The US
Immigration, US Embassy.
Plugs.
Happened to see this episode and I was like, oh shucks, we really need to give this man his visa.
Give him the
Time.
visa. Find the man who deny him.
Make it
Folks,
happen.
now-
Let's get Joash to the States. It's about that time.
I'm on
It's
a
about that time.
mission. I'm on a lifelong mission. Something I started over 23 years. Come on, let me just complete this task. I only have like 4 more years left as a top level athlete. I go into coaching after, so just give me the opportunity, please.
Also, if you're interested in MMA you're in the West or South, right? Because there's HitFit South,
That's right.
right? Check out HitFit online on Facebook, Instagram. I think those are the 2 main platforms.
Google.
Just Google. You could just Google HitFit,
Yeah.
right? And you could get some information about starting MMA classes ASAP, right? And yeah, check out the pages, like them, follow, check out the media, and you could see some really exciting classes. You could see some really exciting classes. Joash has awesome energy. His coaches have awesome energy. One of my favorite places to train whenever I get some free time. If you know me, I don't have that, but when I do get free time, I'll try to squeeze in a session every now and again, right? I'd recommend it to anybody.
We miss you though. We miss you. We miss you.
sure.
But guys, thanks so much for coming out. I know you have a busy schedule. Really appreciate you taking the time, the energy to come out. Enjoy your Sammy's Gyros when you go home.
Definitely.
Home safe.
Thanks for having me, by the way. Peace and love to Trinidad and Tobago, coming from the Honey Badger and the
Hit
Hit
fit.
team.
Nice.
Peace
All right.
out.